Nate the Farmer with Darnell Farms, and we're going to talk motorcycles today. So, let's get to work. Motorcycle. You know, they've always had a certain charm to me. They almost scare me. Maybe because the first few times I ever got on one, I ended up over the handlebars. My dad's first cousin would bring his Husqvarna dirt bikes down to the farm. We'd ride around and I'd take a little spin, and always indefinitely I would end up on the ground sore. So, why do I like them? I think it's because they have a certain charm to them that lets me escape from the farm. I love the farm. It's dirty, it's charming, it's majestic, so to speak, and it's different. But the motorcycles kind of give me the same things, but in a small package. They're like a tractor, you know. They leak oil, they have problems, all the parts are right there where you can get to them, and in a pinch you can work on them very quickly. So what I learned to do was medicate my stress or my depression or my anxiety with a wrench and an old motorcycle. And anytime I had a chance, I'd pick up one like a stray dog and bring it in and throw it up on the table. And it's how I developed a little collection here at my shop of mostly old bikes that don't run. More than once I've been in trouble for staying in the shop too long and working on motorcycles and not coming home to see the kids. But I think the kids enjoy the charm of it as well, because they always talk about my old bikes, and there are pictures of them sitting on them. Not too many riding, because obviously I have old broke down motorcycles most of the time, but when they do run and they're as old as they are and they're as rough as they are at my shop, man, it sure does put a smile on my face. Any red-blooded American, whether they want to admit it or not, feels attached to Harley Davidson. It's just something that's just a part of Americana, you know. And for better or worse, I've always been a little different, and I couldn't help myself. So things that are quirky or a little charming to me, and that's how I got into Norton motorcycles. I want to point out a few specific things about this motorcycle that kind of make it special to me. Number one, it is rather different. It's something you don't see every day. Parallel twins, which are motors that have the two cylinders side by side, are kind of something that you see mostly from the 60s and 70s coming out of European motorcycles, and then later on Japanese motorcycles. But there's just something very, very, I would say, romantic about the way this bike fit together with the kick forward on it. And then this frame was very famous because it was the kind of motorcycle that you could ride for a long period of time because it was isolated. You see, it's got rubber mounts right here and right here, which allow the vibration of the engine and the road to be separated from the rider. And that was a big deal back in the 70s, because if you rode around on a big hardtail Harley Davidson enough, you'll know you really feel every bump in the road, and your kidneys and your backbone are really upset with you when you get off the motorcycle. So they got some really neat engineering, and that's really where these motorcycles are the most romantic to me, especially this one, is the engineering that goes into them. Just because I'm into old, weird, quirky motorcycles doesn't mean I'm not American-blooded, red-blooded, all that stuff too, okay? Because if it's got Harley Davidson on it, especially if it's old and Harley, I love it. Take this bike right here, 1979 XLCH, and something that very specific to this motorcycle and almost every bike you'll ever see is it's a kickstart. Any bike you gotta hurt to ride, it loves you back and it hurts you back, well, that's a real motorcycle. Just like the first one I ever bought over here. Same model, XLCH, kickstart only, 76 model Harley Davidson Sportster. Look at it, covered up in dust and dirt. It still gives me goosebumps when I look at them. As you can see, I got a lot of motorcycles that don't run. It's because I farm for a living. I have a lot going on. And most of my money, when I do have a little bit, goes into these broke down tractor projects. But when I can scratch up a little extra scratch, it goes into the bike. That's why it's up on a table that my son helped me build. He was so excited to build this table because he knew that this old bike was going to go on it, and that maybe one day when he's older he'll have a chance to ride it. Same thing with Norton. His kids and the family, they come in, they see these things, they're just part of the family. And when these things are running and popping, they're either covering their ears up like this, or they're running over begging us to give them a ride. Motorcycles have a story to tell. Each one of these bikes you see sitting around my shop, they've got memories attached to them, good and bad. Folks constantly ask me, Nate, why do you have so many broke down motorcycles? And I tell them, just because they're broke, I'm not going to get rid of them. I wouldn't want you to get rid of me because I was broke, and I've been broke a few times in my life. Things happen. Back in the shop over there, burnt up one time, burnt 2 or 3 of the motorcycles up. They've all got scars from things that have happened on this farm, just like I do. They're stacked in here just like all the farm equipment because they're a big part of the farm to me. Now I think if you talk to the people who are good friends with me, they're going to tell you that without these old broke down motorcycles, these old motorcycles that run with leak oil and give me trouble all the time, I don't think I'd be able to function. They're just part of the family. Friends' motorcycles that don't have anywhere to put them. Bikes that need to be fixed so they can give them to their sons when they grow up. Bikes that came from the junkyard because my friends at the local scrapyard know I love old motorcycles and see them and go, hey, let's call Nate up. I bet he could do something with these. You know, bikes that got cool 1990s and early 2000s nostalgia built into them, but no one wants to finish them because we don't have the time or the money. Motorcycles that the kids have ridden around and fallen and hurt themselves and wrecked. Bikes that we got on when we might have been having a little bit too much fun and wrecked and had fun with too. They're all in here, right in the middle of everything else that's agriculture. Because that's what this place is to me, this farm. It's a place where we bring things together, bring people together, and build an amazing story to share with people. So I'm Nate the farmer, but I'm also Nate the dad, Nate the mechanic, Nate the brother-in-law, Nate the friend, and Nate the motorcycle rider. And I want you guys to understand these things and see these things that are important to me so that I can make you a bigger part of the Darnell Farm family. These motorcycles are part of my family. They keep me out of the doldrums all the time. And we're going to be working on these things day in and day out in between all the farm projects. And you guys stay tuned and watch more videos and you're going to get to see them run.